Hey, you.
What up, everybody? We're back with another fan experience episode on the Lau Times podcast. Today, I got a new guest, my friend Misael Lopez from the fellow H Town, baby. How we doing today, dog?
Yes, sir. How's it going, everybody? Happy to be here. Happy to be a part of this project.
Absolutely, man. Glad to have you. We talked about it, trying to set it up, and we were able to finally make the time for it. So I'm excited to get to know and share your experience as a fan for the team. So why don't you start us and tell us a little bit about yourself? And how you
Yeah, for
became
sure.
a fan of the team.
Yeah. So, I was originally born there in San Nicolas. Very close to the stadium, and all my family, my mom's side, they're long time Tigres fans. Through the bad and the good. And I grew up, that's knowing that's the only, that soccer team, just learning to love it. And as I got older, I got more into it. It was around when I was 10 years old that I started watching the games weekly. It was, went through some pretty rough times. Right after the losses to Pachuca in 01, 03, and then almost going to second division through the 2000s with with all those bad signings, and then glory finally came, and then I've been with it in the good and the bad, and now that I'm grown up and everything, I try to go as much as I can to the stadium and be a bigger fan. And since before I wasn't able to do that, being at the Universitario for the first time, it was an awesome experience, and I'm glad that I finally got to do it.
When did you said that you started becoming a fan? What around what year was that?
Well, I mean, ever since I was little, but I always knew what Tigres, the colors, the team, but I never really followed it. So I was about maybe 8, 10 years old.
And
So
what
that
what
it
was
was, it
who
was
was
around 2001.
so right so you saw Arrival Gaitan, that
Yeah,
those good teams that when we first started. That's I started watching, a little back probably in 96, 97, but not as much as I would probably remember. So
yeah,
we probably started watching around the same time, right about that sixth grade, uh, fifth grade era.
yeah. For me, I'm from I was born in 92, so that's whenever I wasn't really paying attention until I got to older, and that's the first game I remember was losing that final to Pachuca, um, in 01, I believe, and then again in 03. And at first I didn't understand really why they do the aggregate goals. At first I was like, hey, they won the game, but they're not winning the trophy.
Mm-hmm.
But so I just started learning and really paying attention to all of it. So I started playing soccer and really got into it.
Nice, nice. So you said you were born in San Nicolas, which that is, people assume that Tigres is from Monterrey, which it's a
Yeah,
major city, but in San
mhm,
Nicolas de los Garza is where Estado Universitario is at, and it's
yeah.
located. So you're born there. I'm assuming you migrated to the United States. And how was it when you first, like, when you were here in the States? Were you able to watch games? Because I was having a conversation, or maybe it was just more of a message online on Twitter with one of the guys that follows me, and he was saying how it was hard to watch games. And for me, I lived in Florida, and so I had to stay up like really late, like at 2 in the morning, sometimes midnight, because they would replay the games on Galavisión. But
Oh yeah, for
they
sure.
they didn't get enough coverage, or like especially the states, the Mexican League didn't have a lot of exposure yet. Entonces
Hmm.
Tigres like menos, so it was not like
Yeah.
you were able to watch it. So did you have something similar like that, or like were you able to go to Mexico and still watch the games
Yeah.
when you were younger?
No, well, I came here when I was 2 years old. My parents brought me, so I wasn't able to go back till I was about 15 years old.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was all I knew was all through TV, and then following them, just what I knew about my cousins. They would bring me the jerseys and stuff like that. I would always be on the theater's website, .com.mx. And the same thing, at first, Tigres was like the Mazatlan of today. nobody
Yeah,
cared about watching them. So the games were like sometimes they wouldn't the time. I mean, the game was later on, like you said. They had already played 2 hours before, but they wouldn't televise it. And back then it wasn't no TUDN, so it was just Univision and Galavisión. So the big teams got those hours. So we were stuck, just watching the repeat, even though we already know the score. And
yeah,
yeah, and I remember this game that really stuck to my head was back then Monterrey was barely on the come up. The Rayados, Tigres was still in the bottom, and I remember they had a clásico like on a Tuesday, and it was on Telemundo, and like nobody was watching it. It was like raining like crazy. It was like that's how you know where Tigres was a sucky team in the league, that they put the clásico on a Tuesday. And nowadays I don't think they would dare to do that. 'Cause there's the teams, both of the teams are really big, and then all the money that they draw, all the just on the TV, they would lose a lot of money, and that just shows you how much they've grown, especially Tigres.
yeah, absolutely. And so that was kind of like a little follow-up question that I had for you is like, what do you think about the growth of the team? We've talked about some examples of like, the coverage that it did not get. And with the recent success, like how do you like as a fan in the United States, how do you feel like that the either the brand or the team has done or made strides to become, that big club or that team, that winning team that everybody wants to be a part of?
Yeah, I mean, that's coming from seeing the team in the bottom, all coming from nothing. It's great to see the growth and all the money put into it. Ever since Cemex took over, all the great signings. They started with Tuca, and then the big 2010 transfer window. That was really great. That gave the team hype. Because even though before that there would always be like we had some good signings, some expensive signings, better, it's a better word to say,
Yep.
but they wouldn't really work out. And then when we started getting players that work out, and they were, even though they were expensive, they worked out. So the team started being better, and it was all uphill from there. And then with Guignac, they just shut it up. They hit it out the park.
Yeah, man, it's been wonderful to see that growth, and I'm
Mhm.
excited because there's a lot of like uh things that they haven't like tapped into yet, and I think that the American side of things, and like especially so many people living here from Nuevo León,
Yeah.
um, and here more so in Houston, and
Hmm.
it's gonna continue to draw more fans outside of Mexico because of the
Yeah.
brand.
Yeah, for
So.
sure.
Um, let's talk about a little bit about the games. One of the things that like I typically ask people is, do they have any rituals? I typically, growing up, it was cookouts, and
Yeah.
now the day of, I jam the music, the Tigres music,
Mhm.
Los Incomparables,
Oh yeah, for
on Apple
sure.
Music. So, do you have any things like that or that of that nature?
Yeah. Yeah, well, growing up, my dad's not really a big soccer fan, so it was always just me, just watching it. And now that I'm older, I do the cookouts now. But one thing I do, uh, well, don't do is I never wear a jersey while watching the game. That's just I've done it before, and we didn't win, so I just caught myself doing it. So I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do it.
That's
I'm gonna hold off
interesting.
on that. Yeah, so I just don't wear a jersey while they're playing. I just feel like, it's bad luck.
Yeah, I've come across some people that think the same way. I personally, man, I have so many jerseys, and
Yeah, me too.
like I had to find a way to wear them. And like,
Hmm.
I was always like growing up, I was a big boy, so like I had a lot of jerseys that I didn't get to wear when like I got a skips or anything. And now
Hmm.
that like I kind of got in shape and stuff, or like go to the
Yeah.
gym, like all my jerseys fit now. And so
Hmm.
I find any excuse to wear them. So I started wearing them now to the gym here and there. But
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah,
that's
that's cool. Yeah.
yeah, cookouts are definitely associated with the Tigres game. Like everybody knows the carnita asada has to go.
And yeah, for sure. Yeah, you gotta get it on.
That's cool, man. So what one of the you mentioned when you were first talking about how you become a fan
Mhm.
that you saw the two losses of the championships against Pachuca,
Mhm.
and then you saw, the team going down to almost relegation, and then Lucas Lobos and the
Mhm.
signing players till now. In that time, who has been your idol, or who did you think like that's my, number one guy, Tigres? Is it now
Mhm.
Gignac or any other player from the past?
Well, as I was coming up, it was Gaitan was a big name, but then he really let me down the way he left, and Cookie Silvera as well. I felt like they had more to give. I had a lot of hope on Clever whenever he was there. They had that super team, but
Mm-hmm.
my all-time top player for me is Luca Lobos. I was there. I was really invested whenever they signed him, and then all throughout his career with Tigres. I was sad that he had to go like that.
Yeah,
But
man, that's not good the way that both of those guys left. There's still love
yeah.
for both of them from the club, but not enough, I don't believe. Like especially more so with Lucas Lobos.
Hmm.
I mean, the guy put the team on his shoulder and like carried it. And then so there's a lot of theories and like reasons as to why he left with the Toluca the way that he did. But
Hmm.
in reality, it was a good sale because they were able to sell him at a high price,
Yeah.
and for him already to be old. So Lucas Lobos, always great memories of that dude. What about a goal, man? A goal that you
Um,
rave about?
always, always top goal for me was that Cookie Silvera goal against Pumas one time that it was on a Saturday, it was raining, and then Mario Ruiz centered it, back heel, he jumped back heel into it. That was a great goal. That was all time. And then besides that is that Nahuel goal um, in the Champions League.
Yep, to take us to the next round. That
Yeah.
that goal that you mentioned about Cookie Silvera,
Uh,
I think that we were down to start the game, so we started
yeah.
coming back, and that was the
Mhm.
third goal to seal the win. I think we ended up winning
Yeah.
3-2.
Yeah. It was that was a comeback 3-1. I think they got a red card, so that's whenever the team started pushing.
Yep.
But that last goal, it was just like nobody thought that Mario Ruiz was gonna catch that ball.
No, dude, it's an incredible goal. I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought that back into my memory. I'm gonna watch that and I'm gonna post it today.
Yeah, I used to have it on my MySpace on that little GIF
All
thing.
right, yeah.
Yeah, because that goal was just awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. And you mentioned the Nahuel goal, like,
Mhm.
taking us on to the next round. What did you think about once Tigres was there at the Club World Cup and like, the performance that they had? Did it take you back to when you were a kid playing FIFA? Like,
Yeah,
what did you think about that and that
yeah,
experience?
yeah, for sure. Especially the stadiums, they look like you're like in FIFA, and the crowd, everything was just like playing FIFA. But I'm really proud of the team, the way they played. I would have liked for them to, maybe score the goals in a different manner, just not penalties. But hey, that's what got us through, and we played good defense, got into them. I did feel like against Bayern, I don't think they took it that serious, but I feel like Tuca Ferretti could have done more offensively there. Maybe get some couple shots. But I understand that he didn't want to let the fourth down in the bag, and then we end up losing 5-0, which would have been more humiliating.
Yeah,
And the goal they scored was just like, oh man, like if I wanted to lose, but at a better goal
yeah.
than the one they scored, it was just.
I um I firmly believe that Tuca, the last 2 years, year and a half that
Mhm.
he was here, his way of playing was not no longer beneficial, but playing that way at the Mundial de Clubes
Mhm.
against Bayern, that's what gave us the shot at getting there because like if you remember at the end of his cycle, it was pretty boring soccer. Like they held on to the ball and like they weren't doing
Mhm.
nothing. It was slow, it was predictable. And
Yeah.
and I think that tactical system in that particular Club World Cup allowed them to be better and compete against Bayern Munich. And like you said, most European clubs won't take it serious.
Hmm.
But I do believe now with the new format that that would completely change. So Seattle was eliminated a few days ago
Yeah,
from it, so it just shows that the CONCACAF team and Tigres, accomplishing that is just it's going to be tough to like match or surpass.
yeah, definitely. It's gonna be a long time. Hopefully, like you said, with this new format, it's a little bit more even out. Because I mean, UEFA and CONMEBOL automatically getting to semifinal. That's just degrading for everybody else. But I mean, Tigres went through that, and they always say, oh, it was a COVID year or whatever. But it's still competition. Teams still took it out. If anything, it should have been harder because all the players were well rested. It was all their time to come back, and but it was great soccer they played and got us there. And hey, no other team has done it.
Yeah. And one more year that it didn't happen, and we get our shot back as we start the
Yeah, for sure.
Champions Leagues in the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited. I think that we have a really good shot at, with the squad that was
Hmm.
created, uh,
Yeah,
new
and
arrivals to compete.
I'm sorry. I definitely. I mean, I'm happy that it started, and hopefully we get to see all the players that usually stay in the bench. You know, get them some playing time, and then just be ready whenever, so that whenever we need them, they're good to go.
What do you mentioned the use some of the players. What do you think about like Coca not using Cordova and Diente Lopez so far, and like the subs that he's been making?
Um, I think I just reminds me of Tuca. Now I mean now it's even worse. You get five subs and you don't use but one or two. But I understand Cordoba is maybe it's not his liking. He's a Bigon guy. He knew Bigon from Atlas. So it's like Piojo when Piojo started, Cordoba was his dude. So now we're looking at the same thing. But I mean, Bigon used to be really good for us, but I feel like, he's more of attacking, not so much defense. So if you want an attacker, I mean, I feel Cordoba could do more than him. And Diente, I feel like for him to shine, Gignac can't be on the field.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm a little scared of Nico Ibanez, and this is why on the
Oh
pod
yeah.
on the pod I had mentioned it to the guys. Like I was obviously down that we signed him because I know he's good, but I
Hmm.
was afraid that same thing like Carlos Gonzalez and then Ener
Edu
Valencia,
Vargas.
Edu Vargas. Like at
Yeah.
the end of the day, Gignac's productivity is still like
It's
great.
unmatched.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like how do you can't bench him, but I think that
Yeah.
um, I would like to see him be subbed off if needed more now in this part of his career, so we can, obviously his professionalism it will always be there, and so I think he'll be in great shape to the end of his career. I just do believe that we got to find different ways to play with the different weapons that we have. So
Mhm.
I agree with you. I think Diente, at this point is shown that he can't share the field with Gignac. And if he
Yeah.
does, he doesn't really shine. And he's not going to do the defensive work rate to like be on the wing and come back. So I think that he's preferred over Cordova. And I just think Cordova is not a player that he particularly likes his style of play because
Hmm.
he's not, he doesn't have the pace, the pressure, and like, he's more a
Hmm.
creator with the ball as opposed to chasing around. And in this system,
Yeah.
you got to pressure high.
Yeah,
So
and I wasn't a fan of Cordoba at first. Whenever they signed him, I was just like, we got people in the cantera that might be able to do the job. If you really want a young Mexican guy to be on the field with that, but hey, he did pretty good. He was solid last season. So I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't give him the chance. And you already have him. So, might as well play him, and maybe now with Linus, they get along pretty good. They know each other. So hopefully that works out. And the same thing with Ibanez, watching these last games where he played. I mean, I'm glad that Gignac goes back more. He plays, he stays out of the box. He lets Ibanez stay in the box. So I feel that Ibanez right now, that's his strength to stay in there. So
yep.
hopefully it works out because I mean all the past experiments with Gignac and getting another number nine, they haven't really worked out. Maybe besides Edu Vargas, that he had to feed Gignac more.
Hmm.
But and that I do believe that kind of that number nine is kind of cursed.
Yeah, for a long time. I think I mean Edu Vargas was probably the most productive player we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
But even back, it goes back to Olalde, Omar Bravo, Chamagol,
Mm.
you
Maybe
know,
Mancilla kind of scared it off.
Mancilla, yeah, Mancilla brought it back.
Yeah.
Um, cool, cool. Well, what about jerseys, dude? What do you think about the? I see you wearing the new jersey. To
Yeah.
me, it's in my top three jerseys, if not number one. Now I
Mhm.
think it's a beautiful jersey. I wanted
Mhm.
this. Do you have a favorite jersey?
I mean, my favorite one is probably the blue one from 2012 to 2013. The first it came with like the shadow of the tiger.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
remember Elias Hernandez wearing that one. That one, and then the one that I think it's the 2016 jersey when they beat America. I really like that jersey, but I didn't get to buy it. Um, and then this one for sure. Well, I like the white one they came out with a few years ago.
White and
Everybody was
gold.
calling it
Yeah.
the chicharrón looking one that they said.
Oh yeah,
Well,
Doritos one.
yeah,
Yeah, I have that one. Yeah,
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 yeah. I really like that one. The Carlos Salcedo, the one he wore on his presentation.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
now. Yep.
I really like that. Yeah, that I went to the game against Pachuca, the season opener.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I bought it. I was like, I have to have it.
How was it, man? How was the experience?
Oh, it was incredible. First, I mean, we had some trouble finding tickets, but one of my cousins, I had a friend that wasn't able to go, so they lent us
Abono.
their season ticket. Yeah,
Yep.
their home. So pretty badass seats, and it was great. The atmosphere. I feel like whenever we went down, the people kind of like got worried, but then second half, scoring 4 goals, man, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was really good.
To this day, one of the best games in a long time by Tigres. That must have been incredible. It was sold out Volcan.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Speaking about the stadium, though, we know we have the possibility of a new stadium. There's talks about it. The
Mhm.
governor has came out and like said he's received paperwork, but there's like conspiracies and theories that there's no funding yet. What do you think about a new stadium? Would you rather keep the Volcan and not get a new stadium?
I think we could keep the stadium, just invest a lot of money in it because it is really tore down. There's a lot of things. People make fun of the restrooms, but I mean, it is old, but it has character. That in a new stadium, you're not gonna get that, and then it's not gonna be close to the university where that's just a staple. Everybody's used to going to that. I think the location is great. We just need to, they need to put some money into it, and it'll be good. I don't think they'll go with the new stadium. I hope they don't. I hope they renovate that one, but I don't know what they will do in the meantime. I don't think they want to go play in the BBVA or the Rayados one.
Yeah, that's kind of like what we've been discussing as well as like what happens like when they renovate, like where do we play, so I think that the possibility of the new stadium is, maybe not in the immediate future, but I think it's closer and closer, especially with the brand growing so much. I think
Mhm,
that the caliber of like friendlies that the women's team is going to be able to host,
mhm.
and as well as the brand growth that Adidas has done internationally, that I think that you're going to want better
Yeah,
facilities for people to come
yeah,
and see it. So that's kind of ultimately how I see it. I think that I would rather keep the El Volcan, but it's not practical as you continue to move forward with the team growing
yeah,
so fast and with so much popularity.
yeah. That's true. I mean, the ideal situation would be for them to knock it down and build it there. That would be great, so they don't go to another city ordinance and then they're not in San Nicolas anymore, and they're gonna get the same kind of talk back like Rayados that they moved to Guadalupe. You know, that I think that would be ideal, but I don't think that that's possible. But yeah, hopefully, we do get something because I know if they get a 20,000 more seats, they'll automatically get filled again.
Yeah, no, no kidding. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about 65,000 capacity, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So that would be a huge upgrade.
So very interesting to see what will happen with that. Want to get a little bit more into, we're talking about the history of the team with the stadium. So usually ask this question to the guys that I speak to.
Mhm.
Nahuel or Gignac, who do you think is more important for the club?
Um, I'm a Nahuel guy. I think he's been more crucial, and when it comes down to important games, Nahuel's been there for us. Like against Cruz Azul this past game, you know, he really stepped up in the final against León. He was great. I think he won us that Liguilla by himself, all those incredible saves. And at first, when they signed him, I didn't think they needed him, or not waste
Foreign spot.
no next and then yeah, a foreign spot on him. But hey, he's been great. So glad he's been here, and just the character he shows, the connection that he has with the team. I know Guignac has it too, but Nahuel is just feel like he's more hood, more street,
Yeah.
and that's awesome about him. And he loves the team, and everybody loves him back.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've said it numerous times, Gignac is Gignac and he's important and he changed the entire history of the club. But I
Hmm.
also believe that Nahuel, like you mentioned, the final against Leon and then the penalties against Pumas and
In
America.
America,
So,
yes.
he's just as important. Um, Obviously, he would be in your starting 11. So give me the 10
Yes.
remaining players that you would feel for your all-time Tigres team.
Mhm. Yeah, Nahuel for sure. In the back, I would have Mario Ruiz, Hugo Ayala, Torres Nilo, and I know he's early, but I really like how Samir plays. Um, so I'll put him there right now. And then in the mid, I'll have Carioca. He's a master with the ball. And Dueñas. I think when they were in the mid, that team played really good. They were really awesome. I liked them better than Carioca and Pizarro. And then in as forwards, or I would have Lucas Lobos for sure. And then I would have Danilino, Guignac, and on the left, um, I'm really torn. I think I'll go with Damian Alvarez.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah, so the incredible four that they used to have, but instead of Mantilla and
Mancilla,
Guignac.
yeah, and that's just as lethal. So Gaitan doesn't make your starting 11.
Nah, nah, he was good. He was good, but I can't get over how he left, and when the team needed him the most, he bounced. Uh,
Yeah, that I think that most people will hold that against him. I'm a big Gaitan fan, so that's essentially I Diablo Nunez was my first like idol that I started like idolizing from the
yeah.
club,
Uh-huh.
but Gaitan was what made me fall in love with Tigres. Um, so always got to show him love.
Oh yeah.
And then I guess one of the last questions about the team that I always ask as well is either a favorite moment that you've had with the club. Obviously it could be like, maybe a championship games or like maybe an experience that you had with family or at the stadium, something that
Mhm.
you can think of that like makes you like, you know, realize why you're such a big Tigres fan.
I think the 2011 final against Santos. I went to Monterrey, but we weren't able to get tickets, so we were just watching it with family, and just watching the final, and it had to be. We got kind of scared in the first half when they tied up, but then in the second half we scored all those three goals, and it was great. 29 years of the dry spell, but and then just how the city reacted to that championship. Everybody was in the streets. It was great. That was all-time favorite moment when all of this new winning era started, and that's definitely my top moment.
That's awesome, man. Um, and then just to end it with, what would you tell a kid that is watching the team and like maybe he's not a fan or potentially could be a fan? What would you say to that kid that to become a fan of Tigres?
That's how I'm trying to get my son to get more into it. He loved being at the stadium this a couple weeks ago, so he definitely likes it more now. But I will tell him, everything wasn't as great as it is today. We weren't the team we were before. We were the laughing stock, the bottom of the barrel. So you just have to understand that where we came from, to really value where we're at now and what the team is doing now, where we're at, and the people that got us here. To really value what being a Tigres fan is all about.
That's awesome. I think
Yeah,
I'm gonna end it with that, man. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming on.
yeah,
Now you know that we've met and spoken. I'm excited. I'm gonna be, planning some more things with this, and growing the project with the people that are wanting to work and hop on the adventure. So we'll definitely be in touch. There's definitely some watch parties that I'll be planning soon,
okay.
and definitely want to have you there, man. Just like with the rest of the people that are here in Houston, so we can get together and do what we do is show love for the team.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm glad that I was able I'm able to take part of this. Thanks for the invite and thanks for having me. And hey, I'm a Coug as well. I see
Oh,
that you H in the back.
oh yeah, absolutely. When did you
Yeah,
graduate? Heck yeah, go Cougs.
yeah, yes, sir. I graduated in 2021.
Nice.
Yeah.
Recent grad. Congratulations, my man.
Thank you, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, brother. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And yeah, see you next time.